दिलों में प्यार की खुशबू तो होठों पर दुआ रखना। दिलों में प्यार की खुशबू तो होठों पर दुआ रखना। ईमान में वक्त से एक रिश्ता इश्क वफा रखना। ईमान में वक्त से एक रिश्ता।
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and welcome back to another episode of Friday Sermon for Kids. Today I am joined by two incredible panelists, Haris and our new addition, Ubaydur Rahman. Assalamu alaikum. Are you both excited for today's discussion?
Wa alaikum assalam.
Of course, I'm really excited.
I'm excited as well.
That is very good to hear. Now, today we are going to be discussing the Battle of Uhud, just as Hazur did in his Friday sermon. Now, as is customary, let's listen to a clip from this week's Friday sermon.
रिवायत में आता है हज़रत साद बिन मुआज़ की वालदा हज़रत सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के पास आईं। हज़रत सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम घोड़े पर सवार थे और हज़रत साद बिन मुआज़ घोड़े की लगाम पकड़े हुए थे। हज़रत साद ने उनको देखकर हज़रत सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम से कहा, या रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम, मेरी वालदा हैं। आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने फरमाया, इनको खुश आमदीद कहो। आपने उनकी वजह से अपना घोड़ा रोक लिया, यहाँ तक कि वो करीब आकर हज़रत सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम को देखने लगी। आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने उनके बेटे हज़रत अमर बिन मुआज़ की शहादत पर ताज़ियत फरमाई। तो उन्होंने कहा, जब मैंने आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम को सही सलामत देख लिया तो बस अब मेरी मुसीबत और गम ख़त्म हो गया।
Just as I mentioned before, we're going to be discussing the Battle of Uhud, just as Hazur mentioned in his Friday sermon. Now, considering the number of times Hazur spoke about the Battle of Uhud, it truly drives home the idea of how important this event truly was in the history of Islam. It is also important that we understand the incidents that occurred within this battle as well. So, I want to ask both of you, what did you both learn from this week's Friday sermon?
I learned that the Holy Prophet ﷺ and his companions would hold the martyrs of Uhud in high esteem and remember them with special love and respect.
I learned that the female companions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ raced to him even after being informed that their family members had become martyrs.
Very well done to the both of you. Now, Hazur started his Friday sermon by giving a very strong example of the love and compassion the companions had for the Holy Prophet ﷺ.
I remember Hazur mentioned how the mother of Saad bin Muad radiallahu ta'ala anhu cared so much about the Holy Prophet Muhammad's safety and wellness that she went right across the battlefield right to him even after being informed that her son has been martyred.
That is absolutely correct. Hazur mentioned that the companions had such a strong love and passion for the Holy Prophet ﷺ, but they also showed incredible bravery and resilience when they received the news that their loved ones had been martyred.
Hazur also mentioned that the Holy Prophet ﷺ gave Hazrat Sa'd radiallahu anhu's mother the glad tidings that all martyrs were together in paradise, that she should convey that to all the homes.
That is correct as well. Hazur mentioned that Allah Ta'ala holds martyrs to such an esteem that all martyrs go to paradise. And in this week's Friday sermon, evidence was provided of this fact. But Hazur also mentioned that the Holy Prophet ﷺ also continued to pray for these martyrs all the way up until his passing. This also shows that we as Muslims should pray for our deceased as well.
Wow, that's truly incredible.
Yeah, the bravery and the courage that the companions showed is something that we have never seen ever.
That is an interesting statement, and Hazur mentioned something similar in this week's Friday sermon. Hazur mentions that Hazrat Muslim anhu, when addressing the Ahmadi women, said that the Sahabiyat of the Holy Prophet ﷺ stood side by side with the men at the time in spreading the message of Islam. he stated that these were the incredible sahabiyat of the Holy Prophet ﷺ because of their incredible feats. Now, interestingly enough, Hazrat Muslim anhu also stated that Ahmadi women were also a reflection of these sahabiyat because they claimed to believe in the promised Messiah ﷺ. As such, Hazur mentions that Hazrat Muslim anhu said that all Ahmadi men and all Ahmadi women should reflect the zeal, passion, and light that the companions of the Holy Prophet ﷺ showed as well. Now, speaking of Sahabiyat, this gives us the perfect transition into our next segment, Word of the Sermon, where our good friend Samir will help us better understand this word. So, take it away, my friend.
Jazakallah, guys. So today's word of the sermon is sabiyat, which is originally Arabic. But this word is also used in Persian and Urdu. It comes from the root sa, ha, and ba, which means to befriend or accompany. The word sahaba is used to refer to any male companion in Arabic. But when used in Islamic term, it means a companion of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. The term sabiya means a female companion, and the word sabiyat is the plural form. That is, female companions of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. Hope that helps. Back over to you guys.
Jazakallah Samir for that very detailed explanation. Now, let's get back into our discussion.
Farhan Bhai, didn't Hazur mention a woman went all the way to the battle site of the Battle of Uhud just to check on the wellness and safety of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
Ah yes, now that you speak of that, I think I remember Hazur mentioning something as well. Hazur mentioned that during the Battle of Uhud, a rumor was spread that the Holy Prophet ﷺ had been martyred during the battle. Na'uzubillah. Now when this rumor spread to Medina, many women and children rushed towards the Battle of Uhud, the battle site. One woman in particular kept going, and she encountered a soldier on her way who told her that her husband, father, and son had been martyred during the battle. She ignored that and kept asking where the Holy Prophet ﷺ was. When the soldier pointed the Holy Prophet ﷺ out to her, she ran towards him and told him that if you are alive, then everything is okay.
Wow, I think it's because of incidents like this where the companions showed so much passion. Now Hazur highlighted how Allah Ta'ala gave the Muslims at the time so much success over the course of a few years that whole nations cannot reach this level of success over the time of centuries.
That's a very good point. Now Hazur continued to provide a bit more detail about this woman that fervently looked for the Holy Prophet ﷺ by directly quoting Hazrat Muslim anhu. Hazrat Muslim anhu stated that a woman's emotions are very strong. Oftentimes, she addresses a dead person as if this person was still alive. If this person, or if this deceased individual is a close or near relative, oftentimes a woman will complain to this individual, constantly asking as to why this individual left her uncared for, unlooked after. In the case of this woman, Hazrat Muslim anhu stated that this woman provided similar reactions. When she was looking for the Holy Prophet ﷺ, she encountered the soldier, and the soldier kept giving her news about the martyrdom of her husband, her father, her son. And after each bit of news, this woman would ask, what has the Prophet ﷺ of God done? Continuously asking. So it's interesting that Hazrat Muslim anhu mentions this because it truly shows the passion that she had. Now when again the soldier pointed the Holy Prophet ﷺ out in the battlefield, she ran towards the Holy Prophet ﷺ, grabbed his mantle and kissed it, saying that may my father and my mother be sacrificed for you.
That's truly inspiring.
I wonder if any other prophets had companions that had this much passion, bravery, and love.
It's interesting that you mentioned that. Hazur actually stated that a Christian writer narrated a story about a woman named Mary Magdalene and her companions, and how she fervently pursued the religion of Jesus even in the heat of the oppression of the Jews.
Oh wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see how incredible all the companions of the prophets were.
That's absolutely right. Now, I think this would be a perfect time to break from our discussion and head into our next segment. So for that, let's head into question of the sermon. Now, we're in the question of the sermon. I'm going to provide you both with the question and then the options, and then 10 seconds to think about the answer. Now, are you both ready?
I am ready.
I'm also ready.
All right. Now here is the question. Hazur in his Friday sermon mentioned that the Holy Prophet ﷺ gave glad tidings that the martyrs of Uhud were what? Now here are your options. A. Remembered forever. B. Together in paradise. C. Buried in Medina. Or D. Buried in Uhud. Now your 10 seconds start now. All right, time is up. Now, what are both of your answers?
I think it's B, Together in Paradise.
Me too.
That is absolutely correct. Very well done to the both of you. The correct answer is B, Together in Paradise. Now, let's get back into our discussion. Now, near the end of Hazur's Friday sermon, Hazur provided some detail about the funerals for the martyrs of Uhud. Hazur directly quoted Hazrat Muslim anhu, who stated that near the era of the demise of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, a special funeral prayer was held for the martyrs of the Battle of Uhud. Hazur also stated that Hazrat Muslim anhu said that for the Holy Prophet ﷺ and the companions at the time, the martyrs of Uhud held a very high esteem. And the companions and the Holy Prophet ﷺ constantly prayed and remembered these martyrs.
That makes sense. The martyrs of the Battle of Uhud played an exceptionally critical role in the survival of Islam.
Yeah, the martyrs of the Battle of Uhud are true role models for the sake of Islam.
That is very true. Hazur also presented an example of Hazrat Abdul Rahman bin Auf anhu, who was provided with some food to break his fast. Now this food was very elaborately made for him, and Hazrat Abdul Rahman bin Auf looked at this food and remembered the time during the Battle of Uhud when the Muslims didn't even have enough cloth to cover the Muslims or the martyred bodies. What they resorted to at the time was cutting grass and covering the bodies with that. Remembering this incident, Hazrat Abdul Rahman bin Auf wept profusely, and he left without breaking his fast. Hazur also stated that to relieve the remorse that the Holy Prophet ﷺ felt towards the martyrs of Uhud, Allah Ta'ala actually revealed a Quranic verse. Specifically, chapter 3, verse 170 was revealed to the Holy Prophet ﷺ. And in this verse, it is mentioned that the slain are not actually dead. In fact, they are living in the presence of Allah, who is constantly rewarding them.
Yeah, this truly shows that these martyrs are in paradise and Allah truly cares about them.
And it's these companions whose example Hazur has been giving to us. So it's up to us to learn from these examples and to follow in their footsteps.
Exactly. Now at the very end of Hazur's Friday sermon, Hazur mentioned that we should pray for the Muslims in Palestine and the dire conditions in that area, because there is a threat that the war can spread to neighboring countries. Hazur also stated that we should pray for the freed Ahmadis in Yemen. And with that, we come to the end of our discussion. Let's give our audience a little recap about what we discussed today.
We started off the discussion by talking about the passion, zeal, and light the companions showed during the Battle of Uhud. Despite their loved ones being martyred, the women showed resilience and strength, but also a deep love for the Prophet ﷺ and Islam.
Especially one woman. She ran through the battlefield right to the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, even after being informed that her husband, son, and father had all been martyred.
Lastly, we also discussed the deep love the Holy Prophet ﷺ and the companions had for the martyrs of Uhud. We talked about how deeply the Holy Prophet ﷺ would pray for these martyrs. And we also talked about the love that Allah Ta'ala had for martyrs as it was revealed in chapter 3, verse 170. And that brings us to the end of today's episode.
Make sure to watch the full Friday sermon in your own time.
Until next time.
Khuda
Hafiz.
मगर है शर्त तुमसे मुसलसल राबता रखना मगर है शर्त तुम उससे मुसलसल राबता रखना इमाम वक्त से एक रिश्ता इश्क वफा रखना दिलों में प्यार की खुशबू तो होठों पर दुआ रखना इमाम वक्त से एक रिश्ता इश्क वफा रखना इमाम वक्त से एक रिश्ता इश्क वफा रखना